All I'm saying, next time, bring the evidence. All you do, you come here, corruption. Just here. Next time you come here, bring your I am not talking about you. December. Syrup, bring it.
Let me question. I would like to ask the AG to propose legislation for what we call small claims court. There are lots of poor people, to an example you just gave, that they have issues with others and sometimes with large firms, but the lawyer fee is greater than the claiming.
It is their
right.
Unlike the right that someone has, all of our rights exist in context.
What is the context of a second medical opinion?
Because of this. Jesus, common sense, man.
Anything with a deal, you just dealing with Afro-Guyanese issues. If we can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing. And if two, you can't put forward a future, a blueprint, and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
Hi there. Welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show and welcome to my co-host Leonard Craig. This is the call-in edition. Switch from Friday to Monday, but that is old news now. And now it's our first program on the election since the declaration and inauguration. So there's a lot to talk about this evening. Please call in. If we are having our preliminary discussion and the phone rings, the calls take priority. 676-3681, that's our WhatsApp number. So you can use the WhatsApp number and call. We have an hour and a half to talk about one of the most mysterious, interesting, oxymoronically disturbing election in the history of CARICOM, whether you like it or not. Very few parties in the world, if there is one, started 3 months before the elections and won 16 seats in parliament. So how do you account for that? Well, of course, we have to tell you those 16 seats were not at the expense of Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali and his party. They won 3 more seats than what they had in 2020. So we're gonna take your calls once Leonard and I are discussing something and the phone rings. We have to give the calls priority. This is the edition in which we get to know what's happening in Guyana. People garbage hasn't been cleaned for months. People's pensions have been held up. This is a program actually the Guyana Human Rights Association should have been doing. So this is where we interface with you and we try to help you with your problems. I hope now that we have a new government, the elections are over, there will be some feedback with the complaints we get on this program. So call us 676-3681. Let me start with my preliminary output and then Leonard Craig will come in with his adumbration. How can a historic party that has so much support in the country just disdainfully dismiss its supporters by just talking unacceptable nonsense? I'm talking about Aubrey Norton. Aubrey Norton said there should be a forensic audit of the just concluded election with the intention of holding another poll. This is a man This is a party that didn't run neck and neck, and so you want another election. This is a party that didn't run closely and lost one seat. In fact, the election that should have been held again was 2015, in which the parties almost got the same vote. It was like a tie. The PNC got 18% of the election, September the 1st, 2025. And he claims, despite several internal and prestigious international organizations, the US Embassy, the Commonwealth, CARICOM, the OS said the poll was free and fair and the results are accepted, the results are legitimate. Aubrey Norton wants a new election. And guess why? No one knows why. Because he didn't run neck and neck. And so you need to scrap this thing because we don't know who won. He lost 16 seats. He only got 18% of the vote. Now, how could you insult a nation? How could you insult your... They did it in 2020. They went year on saying they won the elections. They treated people so disdainfully that they got the statements, the poll, but we ain't showing it yet. Leonard, you wanted to say something just now?
Yeah, I think we need to educate people more about the electoral process so that people have a clearer understanding of what's happening. But Aubrey, Norton and company should be careful what they wish for. Because if we go back into an election because people might think, for example, his supporters who want the PPP out of office might think that he cannot run a viable campaign, or he cannot run a viable,
and he may lose more seats.
And he may lose more seats because
the
viable candidate now is the win candidate. So he better be careful what he asks for. Norton should just accept the result, go back into rebuilding mode, and then try again in 2030. But I figure Norton believes that he got to show some sort of like he
has to say something.
Yeah, like he got put up a fight.
He has to say something to 75,000 people who voted for him.
But I believe that his eventual speech, his final speech, eventually he hit the mark. If he was to get a grade, he will get the high 80s going to 90. He hit the mark. Given our culture of not making concession speeches, he came as close as possible to what could be a concession speech. Never mind, in between the speech, he evoked history to talk about problems that we have now, going back all the way to 1997 and so on, which wasn't necessary, but gloss over that. The overarching message of that speech was, to me, on point, and it shows some amount of maturity. And just as how we lambaste
You talk about the same speech, the same address in which he said the election was not free and fair? Is that you're talking about?
I can't remember if he specifically said that.
He said that. It's carried in Sunday's Starbuck News. Big and bold.
So I understand him to mean not that the election wasn't free and fair in absolute terms. I understand him to mean in relative terms. And that's what I'm saying. While the speech wasn't perfect, given where we have come from in the past, we have to give that speech a pass. That's in my opinion. I hear you what you're saying, right? That he said the election wasn't free and fair in context.
No, he didn't say in context.
No, I understand it to mean in context that he questioned Commonwealth voters He is saying we need to refine that. He said the prisoners didn't vote. Those who are on remand, at least. And he gave an example of what he is talking about. But I am saying he went off when he spoke about the 1997, he invoked 1997 problems that were already solved in subsequent elections to make a point why the election wasn't free and fair. And I think that was off. That was probably unacceptable even. But all I am saying in context of where we came from, these elections where we have...
You haven't pointed any part of the speech where you're saying that. Show me which part that is likely to it contains element of accepting or.
No, because he said he said we will come back strong, and things like that. And then he asked his supporters. He say, "Will you not watch with me for one more hour?" That is an acceptance of defeat. To say we will come back stronger or whatever. And again, I'm saying, I want you to listen to me carefully. I'm saying in context of what has gone on before. 1992, we had violence. 97, we had total unacceptance of the results and violence. We had violence in 2001. We had the debacle of 2020. That is the history of election that we come from, where people outrightly do not accept the result. And for Norton to say that, to me, he has come some way, some distance towards concession. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't see the speech in any other media house and online except in Sunday's Star Book. And the speech was made public and sent to the PNC release it. And it's characterized by a condemnation of the election. How could you, I would think he should be given marks if he had retracted the letter that he sent to the GCOM chairman. Mm-hmm. In that letter, he wants a forensic audit of the poll and with a new election. The areas you cite are areas that even the observers have cited, and they have not vitiated the election. They right. talk about the advantage incumbent has, financing, campaign reform,
financing,
etc. I think one of them may have talked about the Commonwealth, but I don't think they're familiar. That may be either the OAS or the Carter Center. They are not from the Commonwealth. But all Commonwealth countries, Commonwealth people can vote after a year. I think the mistake or the delusion people are under is this van load of people came and about 10 Commonwealth citizens voted, or 15. Now, what you have to understand with this economy, I know a very, very wealthy farmer who has employed Indian workers on his massive farm the past 3 years. Mm. Now, what they may have done, they may have said, "Sir, we want to go and vote," and they go with a company van.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that is where some mischief makers have been making about Commonwealth people voting. Commonwealth people voted the next 2 days in the Jamaican election. It's just natural. It's a Commonwealth thing. I don't know if you read the address of Norton. All I am bounded by is what I read in the Star Book News. And not, in the Star Book News, he did say, before to Burnham, come and spend another hour with me. Mm-hmm. But it's a very, very acrobatic leap to say, we will come stronger in 2030. How is that equivalent to a concession? You can cry wolf, you can say you were cheated, but you're going to come back strong.
Understood. All I'm saying, Freddie, follow me here again. To repeat myself, all I'm saying is that he could have abstained and he could have said, remember, like in 2020, even after the results, the mantra of the opposition then, after the results were announced and Irfan Ali was sworn in, the mantra of the opposition then was not elected. They had a term.
But look, no, what
they were using, which means then that they did not accept the results. The same thing. The only results the opposition, the PNC, accepted in a long time was the 2015 results. And I am saying, go back to all the speech since 1992, and there was no such speech, not even by Desmond Hoyt, that says, go back and check the speech that you ask your supporters to stay with us, come again strong next time, and didn't call for any movements in the street, didn't call for anything, didn't address the government.
No. I think you may not be contextualizing Norton's address. You are saying that there's no call to violence, but there could not have been a call to violence because that real estate, that asset, is gone from the PNC. And we saw it in April 28, where I think WIN was the party that organized those squareheads to go about making nocturnal mischief on April the 28th. I thought that the speech address was a sensible one after there was no response from the PNC supporters and the society to the letter that he wrote to the GCOM chairperson. The GCOM dismissed the letter and suggested that any problem with the election should right. And it's then after the address came. Now, in my column today in the Chronicle, unfortunately, I should have brought it with me, I gave two reasons why he gave that address. One is that the expectation of street, I don't want to say violence, the expectation of street presence did not materialize, because from day one, he said he didn't accept the cleanness of the election. The second reason why he gave the address is because in the address he made it clear that he said, and it's easy to get on your smartphone. Just go to Google and say Norton address to the PNC, and you'll see it come up, in which he didn't contextualize what he meant by free and fair. He said this was not a free and fair election. And I think he was saying that to offer the leadership of the PNC a reason why there should be no rush to defend him, because you're asking me to resign for a process in which I was defeated when I was not defeated. That to me is the reason. I read, as I said before, I'm restricted by what was reproduced in the newspapers. Now, there may have been other parts, but I won't want to make the leap by saying we can come again. For example, you have a very, very good example in which one of the leaders of the AFC said the statistics of the election was hardly probable. And in that very interview in which he said we will come again in 2030. So here was he, David Patterson, not accepting the results, and then said we will come again in 2030. So saying that you live to fight on doesn't mean that you concede that you will.
No. I don't think he conceded. All I am saying is the closest any leader of the PNC has come to that I could remember. It will come on if it rings. That I could recall have post-election deliberation.
Mr. Hoyt congratulated Dr. Jagan, and Mr. Hoyt conceded.
In 92.
In 92, yeah.
Yeah, but what happened after?
Well, but I mean, you still have a precedent there. We need to tell callers, this is a call-in. Please call 7676-3681. The thing that I would like to hear from callers is what they think about Mr. Norton's continuity. I don't think there's been any example in the world in which a party leader has been so devastated and he stays on.
I think Norton has to, I think they got two ways of looking at it. I think Norton, he has to go. But it's the timing. And
it's not going to be for Parliament. He selects his parliamentarians. None of them are going to want to say, you must go. He's the leader of the list.
Yeah, obviously.
When they haven't done selected.
And I also think that any resurgence of the party, at least at the initial stage, has to include Norton. You can't just depose Norton like that. He is the most experienced politician in terms of years in politics alive in the PNC right now, I believe. Probably Hamilton Green, but I don't know how much Hamilton Green could give to the party. There is somebody here. Good evening, caller. You're on to the program. Hi there, good evening. Person gone. Yeah, so who else there is in the PNC? Hami, that is there a long time, for all the Lawrence, maybe. But so I think any resurgence of the PNC or any plan to, reorganize the PNC would have to initially include Norton. So personally, I don't see Norton going. Good evening. Something with a person's phone. Yeah, so I may be wrong. Norton might have other plans, other ideas, but I don't see Norton going immediately. I see Norton shaping who the next leader would be and helping to shape that process towards his successor, and then gradually ease himself out.
Somehow I don't think that the sentiments in the party, if that's the third time maybe.
Hi, good evening. You're onto the program. Good evening. What? Yes. You're onto the program. Something is wrong with his phone.
Don't, when he calls back again, just something with his When he calls back again, just take it off.
Yeah, so a call is just reminding me the term that the PNC used was installed government. They never accepted the results in 2020. Good evening.
Very good evening to you.
Yes, you're onto the program. Go right ahead.
Thank you very much. I want to start off by saying congratulations to the Guyanese people who for the our peaceful process that we just went through.
Yeah.
And congratulations to you and your party, and to the president and the incoming ministers. I want to offer my comments on the feedback. First of all, I agree with your analysis I agree with your just analysis that you just gave based upon Norton's speech. I think Norton conceded. For this is my assessment. I think Freddie disagreed, but I think he accepted that they would have that. And PNC people have to accept that because I think this was a bad beat up. But it is very unbelievable that they will lose Region 4 and Region 10. But 2 points I want to, going forward, I think two things is, my contribution is that I believe the Guyanese public, I'm happy that laws will be created in Guyana because I think some of these judges, I don't think they know the laws more than some of us. I think the regional election and the national election should be separated. I think it should be separated.
From my understanding, it's two separate elections.
Yes, two separate elections should be doing in one.
Yeah.
It'd be doing it in one, but what I'm saying, we should do it separately because people are confusing this election. They're confusing these two elections. Now, if I am campaigning and I'm going for the presidency of the election, if I'm from New Amsterdam or I'm from Linden or somewhere, and I'm contesting for the presidency election, it means that everybody in this country I'm supposed to be eligible to have ballots for the entire, every guy needs to vote for me. And all other countries. If I'm going for the presidency, right? That's for the national election.
Yes.
The regional election now, the 10 regions. Now, I may say I will contest region 1, I will contest region 2, but I am not contesting region 3.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in being any representation of region 3 to be regional chairman or to have parliamentary seat coming from that region. So if we have the two elections, it means that whether you have my party, you have two sections. I am contesting the national election. So where the national symbols is, my party name should be there. And it should not be at the bottom of the regional. I think this thing needs to be analyzed, and I'm very anxious to see what happens if this matter reaches the CCJ, because I'm very happy.
Oh, you're talking about the case that FGM brought?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And I'm eagerly anticipating if it reaches that far.
The thing is this, sir. In the law, though, there is what we would like it to be and what it actually says. It's two different things.
But there's some interpretation. The word minimum. Now, for me to contest for the national election, the presidency, I must contest.
Yeah. That is true. And I believe you and I are of the same view where that is concerned. I do not know for sure if that is what the law says, but I think that is what should obtain. That when you meet the minimum standard, your name appear on the ballot in all regions because you have met the minimum.
Correct.
But I do not know for sure if that is what the law says. But if you ask me what you described, that is what I think we should have, which is two different things.
Correct, because if you get it right, then to make it easy, keep it two different times, and then you will see the difference if you keep it in national election one time.
No, but I think you're getting confused with two different things there, though.
No, I'm saying
No. Hold on, and let me make this clear. But you've gotten your 5 minutes. Is there anything else you want to say? I hear you clearly on that one.
Okay, one quick next point on the election issue, the lists. That list. There's another confusion again with the law. The case with the Chief Justice rule, on the NRA, people continue to say that nobody can come off of the voters list. And the Chief Justice never said that in our rule.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, no. She said
hold on. Come on, man. The reason why you have 700 and something thousand persons on the list is the Chief Justice ruling.
I'm not dealing with the voters list. Just hear me out.
No. I hear what you're saying. That she said the NRR. If it
National Register of Registrants.
Yes, that is called the NRR. But she said if it eventually leads to removal of people from the list, that will be unconstitutional. She did say that. I could remember that clearly. She did say that.
Yeah, so you could use any process to verify the voters list. You can use any means to verify the voters, which include also house visits.
The verification of the list has to do with verifying the identity of the person, not the residence necessarily. I want you to understand the difference there. The verification has to do.
Okay, I will get a ruling and come back to you.
Okay.
I have the ruling. I will get it back and come back to you.
All right, good. All right. Thanks for coming through, though. I think that last caller mixing up some concepts that we probably need next week to get AG or some other lawyer to specifically explain that there, and somebody also to explain what is the case that Forward Guyana brought. Not necessarily the arguments in court, but what the case entails, because I think that caller got a couple of things mixed up. Good evening, you're on to the program.
Hi, good evening, sir. I want to say congratulations to the PPP for winning the 36 seats. Well, in fact, the election has now went as well for the longest while that I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you right now, Mr. Aubrey Norton, right? There were a lot of things that didn't went his way, but the common rule, right, is that was PPP and the PNC all the time. That we had no, right? I'm the age of 45. So I grew up in Western also. So meaning that this is not a bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it, the main focus at this moment, right? Everybody is saying, okay, the PPP cannot win the election. She come here, did what they had to do in all elections. Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
No, the major focus right now is who is the opposition leader? Definitely is not Mr. Aubrey Norton. All right? Now, the thing about it will disquiet the Win Party.
Let me just throw in a little monkey wrench here. Hold on quickly. Let me just throw in a little monkey wrench. Just for thing. Aubrey Norton could still be the opposition leader, It's the members of the opposition. Hold on. Let me just say something. Let me just give you the possibility. It's the members of the opposition who come together and elect the leader of the opposition. And PNC or APNU could strike a deal with WIN. I don't know how that's going to work, but they could strike a deal and say we serve half. That's possible. I'm just telling you it's possible. But go on.
Is that in the Constitution? Because
the Constitution says.
Before I was told that they cannot collate or whatever after the election.
No, man. All of them.
Anyway, sir, you missed this point. Go on.
Just go on.
Okay. So if they cannot do that, right? Mm-hmm. So the 16 seats, I think, the Win Party got,
yeah.
That would be, the Win Party got, right? Would be the new opposition leader, right? So it's like a fresh breath of fresh air is into Parliament. Am I right?
Okay.
So it's not going to be the same politics again, all over again. So the thing about it, the 36 seats that the PPP has, right, is going to be having a different challenge altogether with the same old politics. That's how am I judging it, right? This is just my personal opinion, right? It would not be the same.
Okay.
And being forward, Guyana movement, right, they have a 1 seat. So you were telling me this now is that they probably could come together at this moment.
Forget about that. He was just being the devil's advocate. Go on. Forget about what he said. Well, continue with your point until you. Right.
Yeah, I know. I only have a maximum of 5 minutes or less. Anyway, I'm just going to say the new party, the Win Party and stuff like that. The thing about it, we got to see what they got to offer, what they got to do, because we all see here was a mimic, the whole cartoon thing that we were seeing from that campaign. That actually going into government at this moment, it was like a shocking. I never expect that to happen, to be honest with you.
Many of us didn't.
It's just waiting it out and seeing what's going to happen.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, sir.
That's just my take.
All right, thanks for coming through. He is saying that they're going to be a breath of fresh air and all of that. I beg to differ, The Win seems to be on a worse and more destructive path, because at least Aubrey Norton gave his speech. He said, we're going to come better. Why not watch with us another hour or whatever. But Win has not conceded the election. They are still saying the election was rigged. Right? So it's as if they are setting themselves up for a worse engagement. So I don't know where the breath of fresh air come from. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, sirs. I just want to my take on Guyana, our constitution in terms of allowing CARICOM citizen of CARICOM nations who live in Guyana for 1 year to vote in
Commonwealth to
vote in our national election. Now, these people have no alliance, no legal alliance to Guyana. They have nothing. They could come and live and then move out and think they have nothing. Why don't we change that? They have no alliance. Then, ironically, we're saying, the same constitution is saying, if a person with dual citizen, they can't stand in our parliament, they can't sit in our parliament. Now, if a man doesn't have, or a woman doesn't have no alliance to your nation, why should they be allowed to vote in your national election? We got to done this thing, check this thing all the time.
Yeah, that's something for the citizens and their representatives.
Not the citizens. We voted for people to look into these matters.
But sir, can I ask what is your interest in bringing this up now when it has been going on in every Commonwealth country since independence? No, I just want to know. Every thought of a human has a determinant. It has a cause. Why are you concerned with in 2025 with the Commonwealth citizen voting?
Okay, no, I don't have a concern per se who they voted for or not.
No, I'm not asking you that. You said you wouldn't like them to vote. You needed to change.
No, because
why is that a concern now?
As I said before in my opening remarks, is that they have no legal alliance to Guyana. We can't hold them for several.
But they
have to represent.
We don't know how they vote, so you can't say they shouldn't vote.
No. You're missing it. I'm not saying who they voted for.
No,
I'm saying they should not be allowed to vote. The constitution should be changed.
But why are they should not be allowed to vote if they're Commonwealth citizens? And the Commonwealth tradition is that Commonwealth people.
No, you're talking about Commonwealth tradition. We ain't got them with tradition, we got them with our laws. If we were sovereign a nation, we have to got laws to look into our interests.
So we belong.
A man coming,
all right.
Your country. No, listen to me. A man coming in your country. He lived 12 months. he vote, and then for the next 20 years he got out your country. That's what the law allow for. Now, I mean, we say it happening since probably 1966, since we get independence. Fine. We can't change in what happened in the past, but we can change in the future. The Commonwealth is almost obsolete now. What power or what influence the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth got now in our geopolitics? None.
Okay.
None.
I hear you.
So why do we holding on to these old baggages?
You get another point?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Norton's speech, when you listen to it, you have to get a fine comb or a sieve to see if he actually concede.
Mm.
The master, he didn't concede. If he conceded, a big man say, hey, we lost the election, we wish the president well, fine, and then you make your comments.
Yeah.
But you don't think. I think what happened with the PNC also was a big shock, and I'm very sorry for them as a great party, part of our political history. But I think over the last 5 years or so,
Yep.
the PNC also allow people like Burke and Hines and the Duncans and the Benchcrap to infiltrate them and twist and turn truths.
That's the tragedy of the PNC.
Yes. And people, and I hope when they do the analysis of this election, they understood that these people had negative effects on the voters, on the group. Negative effects. And I do hope, because the PNC did great things in the past. I mean, we could look back and say, well, the Reagan, blah, blah, blah. But it was a great party, and I do hope that they go in and they...
We're all sad that should happen to the PNC.
Yes, I'm very sad.
Maybe if the PPP had beat them bad and took the 16 seats, but not win, not as Azardin Mohammed. That is what is so tragic about it.
No, but Azardin also, it shows a big thing, and Freddie, you could look into this probably, is look at our voters' intellect. Look at the road to be going in. Do we want to make Guyana another Venezuela? Look at the road we're going down. Look at the people who voting anyway.
Thanks for coming through,
thanks to them. Yeah, okay. But
what happened with the PNC, that he is pointing out? When you pander so strongly to the fringe, you become the fringe. And that is exactly what happened to the PNC. They allow the rhetoric of the Hines, the extreme, and they now sit on the fringes.
I think the man should go, because the level of mediocrity is not seen in politics in Ghana before. I mean, you have somebody like Gita Chandan, trusted by Granger Harmon. Anyway.
Good evening.
Yeah, pleasant good evening to you. And congratulations to President Ali and his team.
Surely.
Commonwealth citizens, it was wrongly implemented in the election. It's the Constitution said Commonwealth citizen and domicile in Guyana. It means a person who's a Commonwealth, you come to Guyana and you have some interest in the country, meaning you have some interest in either making Guyana already or your home, or you have family connection, or something. It is not meant for somebody who just come for work for a couple months or a year or two and go back home. It is not designed for somebody who comes into your country for work. Probably the company gets some contract for build something. They come to the country as of these people come, they're here to work based upon some contract. This is not the
home. They come to work and go back versus come to settle.
Go back home. Though it is not designed for those type of people. And to make matters worse, you give them the national ID card. They give them Ghana national ID card.
Sir, those people who got the ID card, how do we know for sure that isn't their status?
First of all, you don't need your ID card. If you are a Commonwealth citizen and you're not a voting guy, you have to use your Commonwealth documents. You can't use
No, sir. as long to get on the voters list, you gotta get on the national register of registrars. Hold on, follow me. And once you're on the national register, you are entitled to, under the Registration Act, to an ID card.
But sir, I asked the gentleman.
But why are you with somebody who not told me something?
But sir,
yeah, but hold on.
So if I got to another man country for a couple months and come on by registering, I would have no interest in voting in people's country.
But that is a choice you have to make. We Guyanese can vote and do vote in Commonwealth countries election. That's a Commonwealth tradition. What I don't understand. Just a minute. My job is to monitor what goes on in Guyana. That's my job. And I never heard in any election, even in the controversial 2020 election, there was a problem with Commonwealth voters. Why is there? I looked at the election, I analyzed the election, I was out on voting day, and then I saw the results. The Commonwealth citizen. So just let me finish. Commonwealth citizen did not vote in any large numbers. And why is it a problem in this election? When
you don't know much. Is there any information that tells how much time it is a vote or how much of them on the vote?
So why are you concerned? Fine. Therefore, I'm asking you now, since we don't have that information, why are you so concerned in this election about the Commonwealth?
Election, Freddie. If you're not supposed to vote, you're not supposed to vote.
I am not asking you that, sir.
Why you talking about something legal?
Why are you? It is not wrong, it's not illegal. It's a Commonwealth tradition. And I'm asking, sir, can you just listen to me? Can you just listen to me? I asked you a question. It's such a simple question that you should answer it. Why this thought about rejecting Commonwealth citizen? You must have a reason for the thought. What is the reason?
So I don't have a right, as a Guyanese citizen, I don't have a right to the process of the election.
Did you listen to my question?
All right.
You have a. I'm asking you. Look.
The answer is now gonna come, Freddie.
No. Okay. Doesn't understand.
Do you have another point?
Let me answer it. My answer is that if you are not eligible to vote,
I am not asking you that. I'm asking you why you're concerned with this. Look, he's not going to answer. No. You got any other points, sir? You're 5 minutes up. Thanks a lot for coming through. You're not going to answer.
Hear this. I want to point out some fallacies about what he brought up, which is a little different from the question you were asking. And the fallacy is that the people who have the ID card, he is saying, as if he knows that they did not meet the domicile requirement, because people are arguing residency and domicile is two different things. Domicile means you have an intention to settle, right? Whereas residence mean you just come and live and you're here on a 13 months contract and you're leaving after 13 months. But when if you come and your intention is indefinite and you spend a year, then it's considered domicile. That's the argument people are making.
Hear what I'm asking both of those. All
right. Good evening. You're onto the program. Put the thing on silent.
Good evening, sir. I first of all like to say to both of you, Leonard and Freddie, I want to congratulate you all on your fine analysis prior to the elections. I recall very well your statements that what has happened to the People's National Congress is that they did not really look very carefully at what is happening to them. Yeah. They should have seen the various groups when they were having their rallies and see who attended those rallies. You did say that you noticed that there was more of the people thinking that the PNC might have thought that those people from Al-Sudin would be off the PPP's list, but they were off the PNC's list. You all were very I thought very, very good at picking that up. They didn't see that themselves. The other one I want to state, I made a comment before that the Chief Justice...
Turn on your TV. I'm hearing it a little. Sorry for interrupting. Turn on.
I didn't hear what you say.
Turn on your television. I'm hearing it.
Oh, just to give you a second. Oh, you hear me back? I'm far away from it, though. Oh, that's better?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, okay. What I was saying to you, I mentioned at one of the programs prior to now that the Chief Justice Roxanne George was, in my view, to be probably confirmed in her position. And I'm glad to know that even though she has not been confirmed, something seemed to have been done. And I feel good about that. I think that she deserved it very, very well. The other one I want to speak about is I had spoken to you some time ago also about a former Chief Justice, Sir Joseph Lockwood, and I noticed you had said then you did not know or never heard that before. He tried a case and Mr. Bonner was representing one side. And he was the fellow who put his shoe on the stool, on the bench. And the Chief Justice asked him then, take it down. Mr. Bonner said, look, I'm in politics. That man has to leave this country. Now, his relative, Sir Lionel Lockwood, I'm a little old, Freddie. He had brought in like 30-something thousand votes as overseas votes at one of those elections in those very early days. So if you look at the trend, these people were always accustomed to getting votes that they didn't really earn. If the People's National Congress had really worked on this last election, if you look at figures, they would have beaten the PPP. Because the PPP was not perfectly clean, even though they won so much more seats. But the PNC could have done very well had they gotten their people out to vote. And I think they failed. So in the case of Mr. Norton, even though he was an electoral...
No, man, we have to correct you there. The statistics doesn't prove what you're saying. From the last election, 22,000 persons didn't vote. That's only 3 seats. But it's only 22,000 persons that didn't vote. So the PNC lost 16 seats to another party. So how could you say if people turn out to vote, the PNC would have won? People turn out to vote.
No, I'm saying the people who did not turn out to vote are PNC supporters.
Yeah, but that was only...
To move around.
Yeah, but no, but you can't say that. We don't know that. We don't know that. It's only
proof of that.
It's only 22,000 people that didn't turn out to vote, and we don't know why they didn't vote. Could be first-time voters, young people.
Fair enough. I can see that. But I was just saying to you that they did not work. They were fighting among themselves more than anything else. They did not work. You must work if you're in politics. I've been following politics for years. I'm 80 years of age. I knew the two Latson things that they fought against each other. Justice Dr. J.P. Latson Singh and his brother Samuel Latson Singh, two brothers. They fought against each other because that's how close it was under Cherry Jagan's time in the very early. But in the case of PNC, I think I feel very sorry for them. Very, very sorry, because I think they should have done much better. And they should never have allowed Mr. Mohammed to take so many votes from there. Now you have a big change in the area of the Johnson City. The PVP seems to be would control that now. And they would even get Linden under it, which is uncalled for, unknown in prior days. That is what it is. So, I don't know, this is all politics.
Okay.
We got to keep following.
Okay,
I don't know if I see the other one.
All right, thanks for coming through.
Allow me to talk. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Good evening. You're onto the program.
Hi.
Yeah.
A very good night to you, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
And I wanted to say two things. First thing first, I wanted to congratulate the People's Progressive Party on the victory, and especially the Vice President who carried out a stunning campaign all across the country. Hats off to him and his team and the new president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. However, I know this is not a new task for him, but I'm looking forward to see really changes in the administration of the ministry and the regions. They're too long. I don't want to give my mouth liberty. They're too long. Persons are sitting at tables or behind desks or behind closed doors too long. Check all the administrative regions. We need to see new faces. If we even could see your face as some newcomer, I would have really appreciated somebody. But there are people that are sitting too long there. However, I wanted to say it's really disgusting and terrible for the opposition for being a part of this election. Graceful, I can tell you this. Norton, I don't want to call his name, but I have a back to him. I would send him on a plane. I would put him on a plane and send him to a country that is not in his existence. He should have seen what's coming long before this year. He should have seen that. With his members that refuse to work with him, resign from his party, all sort of things. He is a leader. I don't know what leader he is now. I don't know if he's still going to go in parliament. It would be shameful to know that he's going into parliament. He should hang up his gloves. I'm so sad to say this on this telecast, but I can say this to you. It should have never happened, but however, I must salute the new opposition leader. I'm looking forward for a strong opposition. Every country needs a strong opposition. He's a young man. I am not on his side. I'm not on the government side. I am a Guyanese. I support my Guyanese brothers and sisters all across this country. And he is an opposition. He should take his office and study what the opposition should be doing and get it done. Not Norton. A man will sit down in office like if he's some president and he's this and that one for nobody sitting down now. Anyway, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for coming through, sir. The man lambasting Norton. Anyway, I think, Freddie, we said it on the show many times, and if Norton was, and I know Ganesh Maipal came on the program many times, and we try, not in any aggressive way, but we try to corner him on some of the issues. And rather than internalizing, he slippery, But this thing was in the making, and I couldn't understand why they couldn't see it. I couldn't understand why Norton would not have separate himself from the David Hines type of rhetoric and so on. Good evening.
My gentlemen and comrades, good evening to you. I hope sir. All is well with both of you.
Well.
The PPP, it is known by now, performed exceptionally well during their last term, but put aside their performance, put aside all the investments that were made in education, health, agriculture, etc., I'd like to allude to two books that cause those nails to be nailed into the coffin of the PNC. Book number 1, Groundings with My Brothers. Dr. Ali, whilst being a president, walked the landscape, cook with the people, chat with the people, listen to the people. Walter Rodney wrote in several chapters in that book, Groundings with My Brothers, the essence of listening and the essence of abiding. Dr. Ali sat on the bottom houses, be it what ethnicity you were or what ethnicity you are, and listened to the people. So I'd like to allude to groundings with my brothers. That's one. The final point is this. There's another great book, and up to today, few Guyanese, given our population size, have read that book, The Western Trial. I'd like to borrow that title, to place that title upon the PNC, 2015 to 2020, the PNC on trial. That was the time, given the fact that they were 23 years in the opposition, that was the time for them to bring out their A game. Imagine you had a president for 5 years that told the people that rice is a private business, government has no part in that. Imagine you had a president that told the young people, go cook cocoa rice and make plantain. There's nothing wrong with cocoa rice, but that is the minuscule thinking capacity of a president comparative to a president who's pushing for shipping, logistics, changing the frontier of development, expanding agriculture.
And making small man contractors.
Oh my gosh, Professor Leonard. Oh my gosh. So in closing, my brothers, the Guyanese people, no matter what Mr. Norton say, poor turnout, his supporters didn't go out, that wouldn't have changed the dynamics of them losing the election. It is so sad that Mr. Norton is a victim of his comrades' own underpinning. And finally, you observe the likes of Mr. Jordan, Mr. Granger, and the other top brass of the PNC did not come out and leave Mr. Norton. They left him alone in the political battlefield.
Yeah.
They left that man alone. So this unity happening on the opposite side, they can learn a thing or two from Jagdi or Dr. Ali, you know, is to unify, is to come together. And let me tell you this here. Professor Kissoon was right since from the inception he started this program. This man, Dr. Ali, will make a great imprint upon this country. Don't worry, people need not to look at personality. Look at what is happening and look how the country is changing. So anyway, that's my contribution. I kept it short.
Yeah. Thanks for coming through.
Keep up the good work too. You know?
Yeah. Thanks for coming through.
Good.
He said something that is very, 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 very pertinent to the PNC survival and renewal and all of that, and their downfall. And I hope they're taking notes, actually, because, you know, that the PNC, the PPP was so organized that it would have been difficult. It would have been really, really difficult for the thing. And there is something he mentioned about Granger and Jordan, and so they are of the same ilk in my view, right? People who have not had a career in politics, but came into the government, and Granger had too many of those people, too many quote-unquote professionals, too many technocrats in his government who knew nothing of politics. So they run a technocratic government and not a political one. And it is political parties that run elections, political parties that run government. And what Granger attempted to do was separate his government from the political process. He didn't have political meeting with the AFC and all those. I wrote extensively about that.
I think there's one missing story about that. I could understand people that you're talking about went into politics. They were not from that area. But Granger was head of the army.
Yeah.
Granger, you got to call him.
No.
Granger was head of the army. Granger was part of classes that the PNC used to conduct for ideological education. He had... Go on. The calls are more important.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, Freddie.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Freddie, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Thank you. I must call to compliment both of you for doing a wonderful job. But Freddie, I want to take you back. I'm a former graduate from UG years ago. Are you there?
Yes, I'm
go right
listening.
ahead. Go right
Look at the screen. You see me.
Yes. And in 2020, I listened to your program. I believe it was either a radio call or I read your article in Chronicle. And you mentioned something and it came to pass. With all the rigmarole that PNC were doing with rigging the tabulation, you came out clearly and said, this will destroy the PNC in the 2025 elections. And that word came to pass. A couple of things are happening. There's a word called bitter taste. You guys know politics better than me. And things that PNC have done back years ago still hasn't gone away. It's still within the minds of the older folks. And what they did in 2020 add more bitterness to the people. And one of the things too that's affecting the afternoon PNC is that Mr. Norton had a hatred attitude and approach to anyone who's supporting PPP. It doesn't matter if you're Indo-Guyanese or Afro-Guyanese. And that is something a leader should walk away from. He needs to step down, bring back someone with better finesse that can approach more approachable, and likability is still today makes man strong and alive to become good leaders. So with that, I want to compliment you, Freddie, for that word you said back in 2020 came to a pass for the last one for September 1st, and thank you very much. You guys doing a wonderful job.
Take care, buddy. Thanks for coming through. Yeah. You were saying.
Yeah, Jordan worked in the Ministry of Finance as a professional. And you're right, Granger brought in a lot of them. But Granger was different from them, head of the army, part of the Burnham apparatus. He must, and he did, have exposure to serious, formidable politics in the PNC days.
Yeah.
He had to have brought some of those experience with him. Then there is the academic part of it.
Yeah.
Academics do not make good politicians. But when you're a politician, you're an academic, theory informs you.
Yeah.
You're an academic, and he was a historian. So he long before he entered politics, he edited a book called Themes in African History. So he know the trials and tribulations of black people. He knew about their disadvantages. And what did he do?
Good evening, you're onto the program.
Hello?
Person gone.
Yeah, like for example, he knew that the retirement age for public servants that are 99% African, all of the army, doctor, and he had a commission of inquiry into the public service that recommended upping of the age, which would have been a substantial advantage to African Guyanese in the pub. So I think it's not only the people around him. Something went wrong with Granger.
Good evening, you're
Hello?
onto the program.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah.
I would say the bottom line of everything is due to the suffering of the people in this nation. That is why you see the people cling on to the promises that Mr. Mohammed made. Mr. Mohammed put out so much on the plate that he will do for the less fortunate. And he went into areas where people are suffering real deeply. So I would not blame the APNO. I will not blame nobody but what Mr. Mohammed placed on the table. That is what people grab on, because it is not easy in our country. It is not easy. A lot of people don't have food. The commodities in the market, in the supermarket, it is extremely high. And Mr. Mohammed promised to take care of the needs of the people. So we can't blame him for getting those amounts of seats. Okay, so that is my contribution this evening.
Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
Something I think when 10, 15, 20, 25 years from now, when scholars write about the APNU regime, 2015, 2020, I think that's going to be a very fascinating study of what went wrong in politics anywhere in the world. I was very close to some of the players in the AFC, not APNU, but of course I read almost everything Granger wrote, and I still think it's an esoteric moment in politics that is not easily explained. Where and why those people went into the stagnated cul-de-sacs of power, I still think it's not easily explainable. I couldn't understand why Granger would have several commissions of inquiries, and then they came to naught.
Yeah, and it just disappeared. It just disappeared.
Yeah. The Christmas Fall, Lindo Creek. A man said something that you killed the president.
Yeah.
And you had the commission inquiring into the police, commission inquiring into the public
into
service.
The commissioner of police as well.
Land commission. And nothing came out of it. And then on the other hand, you had people like Ramjatan who came out of the PPP, knew about politics, and
Moses Nagamutu is the greatest enigma in politics. I couldn't understand.
And he has been silent since 2020. Then he just surfaced saying he wish Niger Hughes well.
Good evening. You're onto the program.
Hi. Good evening, guys. Good evening, Freddie. How are you guys doing?
Just fine, buddy.
A couple of points. One, how come requiring Commonwealth vote, requiring state resources, requiring all these things only when the PPP win?
Yeah.
We never query when PNC or APNU or even the last when Granger. Nobody ever query anything. But left like that. And as to the analysis of votes, nobody the vote was there. APNU just lent it to Mohammed. They'll probably be getting back sometime in the future, but they allow them in. Not a single party of all the opposition parties. All concentrate their attack on PPP. They have not once analyzed each other and said anything against the other. No one of the opposition party said anything against Mohammed or Yan party or what they were thinking about anything of the wrongdoings or anything. Scot-free, they allow them in free. Now, when you allow it free, your party supporters would feel, this is okay. Our party alone, they're not saying anything, so it'd be okay to go and vote to them. Right? Martin did not try to secure his base. Figure he's comfortable there that nobody can take it. But that was not so. He allowed all the campaigning to be done in the stronghold by when he realized it was too late.
Yeah.
Right? And there was nothing he could have done there. Right? So there's no one to blame. They voted the shots. The vote is just done to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? This is a party come from nowhere. Never had it before. So who voted yet? He didn't get PPP votes. PPP secured their base. So obviously he took it where it was available.
Right.
And it was available. And PPP went up.
I like how you put it.
All the opposition.
Yeah.
But none of them ever criticize the other. You got to analyze each other's policies. Right? But they did not. They gave him a free pass. And he took it.
Right. Thanks for coming through.
Can I give you one more point there?
Yeah, sure.
It's state resource. State resource. How do you analyze and deem what is state resource? Ministers and government, they got to do their work, so they got to use what's available. What you want them to give up their vehicle or give up anything? They did a good work in raising their own funds in campaigning and fundraising and dinners and everything. Nobody stopped the other parties from doing that. They could have, they had the support.
I want to talk about that because it's a very, very interesting political theory. And someone like Mr. Carter is limited to the American experience. But when you come off, if we have time, I will talk about that incumbent advantage. It's not a good political thing. Anyway.
All right. Thanks for coming through, sir.
I understand. Take care. Good night, guys.
I want to talk about that, but when the phone rings.
Yeah.
You see, third world countries, post-colonial countries, don't have the kind of domination of private enterprises as United States have. So what happens then in countries like open capitalist countries like United States? The government isn't doing any infrastructural work. That's not their job. In a country like United States, when we are building roads and highways, they are building jet fighters. Now, Carter is saying that the incumbency has an advantage in that he's talking about you're building roads, you're building schools. But capitalist countries don't do that.
No,
capitalist countries don't build schools.
I think he was referring to the commissioning of the schools, not the building of the schools. So I think, if I understand him clearly, he was saying, yes, he was saying when it's coming up to election, some point, like when after Parliament dissolve or something like that, there shouldn't be any more commissioning because that is like vote buying. So it's not just the building of the school itself, but the flaunting of it in the voter's face to reinterpret him.
I got the impression that he was saying when you have an election, you should use the incumbency to do this and to do that. If that is what he's saying, it has no validity in post-colonial political theory.
Understood. Right. But because I think
United States,
the GS of the PPP answered him by saying, look, we build these schools because it's in our manifesto and we promise these people and we have X amount of days in our term and we should be able to deliver manifesto promises right down until the last day of our term.
I don't think he should have gone that far. I think Carter and one is a wonderful organization. Is indispensable to Guyana's preservation of democracy. But I think his experience, he is expounding. He is
on something he don't understand,
and that as society doesn't.
That he can't fully appreciate.
There is no part in the United States where the government will build a hospital. So he doesn't understand that. He's talking. He has no understanding of post-colonial economics. It's just he reminds me of how you're going to review a movie or review a song. It will be based on your cultural upbringing and your class position. Now, if you ask a typical white Harvard professor to assess music, hardly soul music will come into his thing because he probably never familiar with himself. He probably don't know who's Otis Redding. So he meant well, Carter meant well, but typical Western,
that's how I read him.
Typical Western.
That's how I read him, and I think the answer by Jagdeo was on the spot. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Am I on to the Freddie Kissoon show?
Yes. You're on to the show. Please go ahead.
Hi. Mr. Leonard, good evening to you. Good evening to Uncle Freddie. Just a little cold. Just excuse me.
Like you got COVID.
No, Uncle Freddie, it's a little cool. So, quickly, Uncle Freddie, hear me there?
Yes.
When, I think it was after the election Monday, or during the election, I was watching you on Ignite News, whether Ignite something. Anyhow,
Ignite Television.
Anyhow, is that a new program? Is that a new?
Yeah, that's a new television station. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now,
Channel 6.
I want to make you make a very important point, Uncle Freddie, and that is something that I would like to see, and your point that you make is that whomever the government, and before I even go on, I want to congratulate the PPPC, I want to congratulate Dr. Mohamed Irfan on his re-election, on his re-election, won this election and going back into parliament to serve as the president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. The people has spoken. They've made a choice, and I'm really happy to see what he's going to do in the next 5 years. Back to your question, Uncle Freddie. You mentioned, and based on the analysis of his role, his style, his composure, the way he carries himself, it resonates well with the electorate. And your point, I think what you made is so important, is so vital, that his cabinet, that whoever he chooses, whoever new will come, because there are additional seats, those ministers, those PS, those junior ministers, if they do not portray, if they do not give that style of the president, humble, meeting with the people, listening to the people. There's a few ministers, I really don't want to call their name, but when you go to them and you have something to say for them, they behave like if they're above the law. They talk down to you like, and this is not humbleness. So I'm saying that those people, and you spoke about it, whoever will go to serve the people, if they don't serve well, they are going to fail the government. The government is going to look bad. And you said, if they are not performing, Uncle Freddie, the president should immediately look in replacing them. And you also talk about people like the newcomers who are coming, are there the assets that are going to come? Definitely, you have to make way for them. And I'm happy that you would have raised that question. I think it's on the day one or the next day on Ignite News. So, Uncle Freddie, I think you and I are also doing a great job. I want to make a next reference. Are you guys there?
Am I still online? Go ahead.
I want to make a reference to the opposition, not the current opposition, who will the main opposition now, who's going to be the win team. I'm talking about, you preached to David Hines. You went on this show. He called those, our African brothers, all kinds of a name, like bottom, slave catcher, whatever. He did not realize that he was damaging the party more, because this is a time when people don't want to hear about race thing, because we're all Guyanese and we have to mix and meddle and to deal with each other. And when you're going to preach that down, where are we heading as a nation? So I hope that they look back, they will go back to the drawing board and see people like the David Hines, even the Sherrod Duncan, who pitch in trench crapo stuff. And these, we're there. The AFC didn't even garner one seat.
Yeah.
Right? So I want to congratulate you guys, what you're doing. You guys are doing a great job. Uncle Freddie really worked too. Lennox Craig, you guys did a fantastic job. And I want to congratulate you guys in going forward. So, Uncle Freddie, I'm going to come off here now. And I think, based on what I said, I reiterate what you said about ministers now in government, or who will be going to government, junior ministers, listening to the people. I'll be off here now, Uncle Freddie. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's an important point. The president and whomever's making the decisions need to take into consideration. They need to appoint people to ministries who are aware that what brought so many new non-traditional people to the PPP is the attitude of the president, and that anybody who would be appointed now must have a heightened awareness, the way how they deal with the public, how they deal with people, you know, and that kind of thing. I think that is extremely important in the 2025 to 2030 political season, governance season or term. And I hope that is taken, strongly into consideration when the names are being named.
Yeah, you got to. You have to. It's the ABC of politics anywhere in the world. You have to have people that carry themselves culturally, politically, and morally well. So it expands the image of the presidency or the prime minister.
Yeah, and the president wasn't shy about being self-deprecating, even though he knew Norton took an oath not to shake his hands. Every opportunity he had, he put out his hand and left himself hanging. A person with so much power and such stature shouldn't have to do that, right? But the president did that, and normally, when somebody refused to shake your hand and you were left like this, you're the person who looked bad.
Well,
but it's the opposite.
But I think Norton lost credibility from that time, and the president gained traction from that.
Yes.
Remember when he did that, he was president. So it's automatically translated into humbleness. But I'm doing a column in which I'm looking at the concatenation of sins of R.B. Norton that led to the devastation. And that is definitely one.
Yeah.
I think that Neville December, who was a guest on our program and who knew Norton the past 40 years, said he told him about that handshake thing. It's just not part of civilized.
But what Norton did, instead of listening to people such as December, Norton listened to Burke, and Burke rhetoric every day. Chase out them. You know, oppressors don't you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think Norton pandered too much to that. I mean, there is a place for a place for that. But when that consumes your entire existence in politics, it's not gonna work.
I think there is a danger, and Norton paid the price of it. And I think you're psychologically trapped. I don't know who could help you, but when you are a street, when you are in the trenches, when you're the bully boy for so long, I think it takes over your psyche, and you can't come out to become the Wall Street guy with a suit. It happened to Hamilton Green. Even though when he was prime minister, Hamilton Green was going around the place bullying people. It happened to Corbyn. Now, Corbyn was the bad boy of the YSM. And when he became minister, he could make that transition. And he got accused of an incident with Dr. Hanneman's daughter, in which I can't remember if he was charged or not, but Hoyt asked him to step down until an inquiry. And so it's that kind of street politics that you so long embedded in that it becomes one-dimensional. And I think when Burke and David Hines start to behave like that,
it stir up.
He felt that is my role. That's where I came from. It's like the prime minister or the president or the CEO for a big bank. He would stop and have a drink with the boys because that's where he came from. But when he does that, he let them know that he appreciate the company, but he gone back to the bank as the CEO. I don't think Norton could have. I don't think Green, Corbyn, and Norton
could extract himself.
And one of the person who will suffer for that in the future, because I think he's a prisoner of that, is Ganesh Mahipal. I don't think. I don't think Manipal is so far gone into that street politics that I don't think he could make that transition. You know, but he's still young in politics.
I think he's balanced. But when I say balance, I don't mean balance in his views, political views, with the government or what. But I think he's balanced on the issue you're raising with respect to straddling both thing. I don't see Paul as a street fighter kind of thing.
Like the way Corbyn, Norton, and Green.
I don't see Paul as that.
Well, the reason for that is the PNC didn't give him that role. The PNC had other people for that role, so he didn't fit into that role. But it's the same. No, I think Sherwood Duncan is gone. With 11 seats, you can't give those 3 AFC people. If you give those 3 AFC people, you're leaving with 8.
Well, Joretta Finance was the prime ministerial candidate.
But I think there's going to be a fight within the PNC for those 11.
Well, I did write that 11. On my Facebook page, saying that this is the hardest decision Norton got to make in the next couple of weeks.
He has 11 people. Those 11.
Because imagine the PPP had 33 seats. They named 33 parliamentarians, and it's private. We're not going to answer. 33 parliamentarians, and he had a fight on his hand. You remember when AFC first went to Parliament, they had 6 seats, and they had Gomati Singh and some other people who resigned from the AFC when the AFC was still young.
If the person who's listening or looking, we don't accept private number because it can get us into trouble. If you say something that is a violation of national security, we can't trace the call.
Yeah. So when you have to navigate such small, imagine the AFC was such a small party and had problems, and the PNC is so huge and got to name only 11 persons.
And I'm sure they have 11 persons on that list that 5 years ago had kept the faith.
Yes.
6 years ago had kept. So Sherwood Duncan can't just walk in and Ricky Ramsoup. I don't think they. And you have 2 high-profile Indians already, which have to be in Parliament.
And then based on the law,
and
well, maybe not Ubraj, but based on the law,
women,
1/3 of women, which means 4.
No, but why Ubraj he may not get in, because you have that pandit in Berbice, who is far more.
And then Berbice, not only that, they increase the PNC increased their numbers in many areas in Berbice.
So that pandit in Berbice that we had as a guest,
he probably
and Ganesh Mahipal, that's 2. That's 2 accounted for already. Darren Wade.
Well, I don't think you should be calling names as to who should be there, because
they're too high profile.
Everybody got the 12 or the 11 that they would want to see, and I'm just saying that.
But Ramsoup and Sherwood can make
Norton is not in an enviable position right now.
We gotta go.
Some new people all were brought in, and
I normally, our time has come. I normally come from 1 to 10.
No.
Yeah, it's 4 minutes past 10. We go until 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
So I'm going to
misjudge the time.
I'm going to count to 1 to 10, and if there's no call, we take 1 call within that counting period. If not, we got to go. We'll see you on Wednesday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Our calling show for Monday is completed. So we will see you on Wednesday. On behalf of our operators who have to go home, and behalf of my co-host, it was nice having us in your living room, having us wherever you are, having us in your television, smartphones, and your smart TV. We have already passed 3 years of this program, and we're looking forward for many more years. Thank you very much. Catch you later. Bye-bye.